That's enough of that. Happy Fat Tuesday, everybody. And we link that into the French and the French Canadian, apparently. I want to read an email to you kids, not in its entirety because reading is terrible. Fundamental. My name's Clive. I live in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Interested in getting a laundromat. And I'm even more interested in your program. Thanks, Clive. I love that name. What a cool name. I see you're based in USA. Clive is new to the YouTube channel, obviously. But, no comma, does this system work in Canada as well? Clive could have gone a little further and just watched a few more YouTubes on my channel and found my success stories, whom I call prodigies, right here. But I thought, what a lovely opportunity to bring you folks in on this and talk to my friend Wade, because Wade is up there. And Wade is working on it. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Hi. Feel free to ask your questions, comments, discuss my hair and mustache if you must. I built my empire of cash laundromats by making a massive mistake in the early days, 20 some odd years ago, and buying one. Laundromats are bought and sold in this country, Canada, and the world every single day. In my learned opinion, the folks that are buying them are buying failures. Who would sell a successful cash business? A lot of people sell businesses. They build them to sell them, especially online businesses. That's the goal, right? Let me build this thing up and sell it. But the odd dichotomy with laundromats is the fact that we have a physical ailment. We have equipment in the store. And that equipment sometimes is what the sale is based on. That equipment is never getting any younger. You don't want a laundromat with no customers, and the customers create wear and tear on the equipment. So a 10-year-old laundromat is not like a 10-year-old restaurant. If a 20-year-old restaurant or a 100-year-old restaurant still exists, it probably means they have pretty damn good food, service, and atmosphere. A 100-year-old laundromat, I hope they've retooled recently. There are so many odd dichotomies with coin laundromats, so many. But the biggest one is the fact that you and I have never stepped foot in a laundromat in our lives because we are middle class. Most people that invest are somewhere between upper middle class and wealthy. And so not knowing or having any idea what a good laundromat looks like, let's go buy one. Let's take advantage of the poor. How hard could it be? I always talk to you guys as though you are new to the channel, and occasionally when we make these live calls, we're just calling landlords, and you're scratching your head and you're wondering, what is this all about? Well, Wade wants to tell his story, so without further ado, we will do that. You will sub to the channel. Let me earn your sub first, shall we? And we're going to call some landlords on Wade's behalf, because guess what? He's going after store number 2.
Danny, how goes it?
It goes. All right. I get these. It's always Canada. I don't know why. It's always the New Yorkers who email me, text, say through the YouTube channel or on my Instagram, I want to talk to somebody who's done this. Very skeptical people, these New Yorkers. And it's always Canucks who come. Is that a bad thing to call Canadians? It's always the Canadians who say, does this work here? Which is kooky because, I mean, everything's, what do you speak there? Mostly French, right? I mean, it's the same shit. It's Canada. And then usually
English.
by the time I'm even able to look at their email and respond to it, which is pretty fast, they've come back and said, oh, I found a couple of your students who've done it. Now you are one of them. So Coke, Pepsi, questions and answer time. How big is the store that you already have? What did you pay for it? What is the retool process? Where are you at?
Yeah, 1,200 square feet, which, again, in Canada, it's tough to see ones that are bigger. I think it's the third biggest one in my city. I paid nothing for the laundromat because I wouldn't pay a dime for it even if I was asked. And the retooling process has been completed, and I've been open since November 1st.
November.
So just over 3 months.
3 months.
Yep.
How's it going?
Very well. Every month is an improvement over the last month, and the word of mouth has been spreading very well, actually. So it's been very, very good.
There's the worst day in a boat, best and worst day in a boat owner's life is the day they buy the boat and the day they sell it, right? And the worst day in a laundromat operator's life is the grand opening because, you know, you do the grand opening and there's crickets. So I never say that a grand opening is a real thing, certainly a soft opening. What was that feeling like when you opened the doors? And I mean, did you just flip the sign to open? Did you make any announcements? What did you do towards adverting this place?
Yeah, I spent the week before running around this neighborhood, handing out flyers. I made sure that the day before we were still kind of getting the final touches done on the store, getting some of the gas hooked up. That's how down to the wire we were. And basically I was there for, I think, 36 hours altogether, just because I wanted to be there for the first day with my attendant and make sure everything was smooth sailing on his end as well. But basically I got no sleep for like 2 days around it. But I made sure that was on my end that I wanted to do that. So, and I wouldn't have changed that for the world.
I remember those days.
Absolutely. It was great.
One of my stores.
I love meeting all the customers.
One of my stores, it was so down to the wire that we left. And, you know, it was kind of my thing that, hey, it's open. There's no grand to it. And off we go. And me and one of my contractors walked out and we got a frantic call from my attendant that the grout on the tile wasn't dry. And so customers were coming in and the tile were sliding around and moving around. I was like, oh, that's cutting it pretty close. Yeah, that was a mess.
We're pretty close to ending. We were doing like the final hookups and stuff, and I was there at about, I think, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and I went home for a couple hours, and I came back for like 5, I think. So I didn't really go to sleep. It was like maybe an hour or 2 of sleep, and I went back to be there for 6 in the morning. So
welcome to small business experience. Ownership.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what's your
the things you do?
And you still have a full-time job. What do you do full-time?
Well, that's kind of like my kind of change, I guess, over what most people do. I actually sell appliances and electronics. So I guess I have a little bit of a leg up because I've done it for 20 years. So I know a lot about washers, dryers, fridges, stoves, TVs, all that fun stuff. So I kind of know the manufacturers and have not really relationships with these distributors, but I know people in the industry. Let's just put it that way.
Good. Well, you know, commercial washers and dryers. So how was your retool? Did that help you at all? I mean, these are normally not the same folks that are selling to the public.
You are correct. It is different people, same process, but like I said, it's a little bit more easy for me, I guess, because I know pretty much the majority of what a washer or dryer is supposed to do. And I sell them. So a lot of the tactics that, you know, they might try to pull or do, I'm quite familiar with, right? So I did, as I told you, a lot of the distributors tried to gouge me pretty hard. And, you know, even with the negotiating back and forth, they weren't really budging too much. But there was one manufacturer that kind of set themselves apart by significant amount of money. And they're a newer player to the North American market, I'll just say that, but they are well known in the residential market. And I'm taking a chance with them. So
Nice. Well, that's the way it works. And I've said this so many times. I have people outside of my purview that are buying laundromats. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a mistake. I have people outside of my purview who have no idea that I exist. I should say we exist, that this system, if you will, exists, who are building laundromats. God forbid, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and they haven't been able to install one folding table or one washer or dryer, and they're spending that money on everything from gas, water, electric, EPA fees. That's a worldwide mess. Then we've got folks that are retooling existing stores. This is not solely my concept, the zombie mat thing. And they're bringing in the first distributor because they recognize the brand or they like the guy, and then the guy buys them a steak sandwich. And what do? They go with them. And they are they're getting raped. They don't
taken for a
know.
ride. Yeah.
They don't know.
Exactly.
Look, I've consulted with thousands of people, not even including my live seminars or my webinars, and the folks that I talk to, never. My record is perfect. No one ever knows what commercial laundry equipment is worth, what it costs, or what they should be spending. They just don't know. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you buy a new washer, you're pretty certain that it's going to be the same price at Best Buy or across the street. Again, you go to Lowe's Depot and the other Lowe's Depot. It's a standard. And we make them but no one pays retail for a car. We know automatically that, and no one that I know goes in and pays sticker price. It's MSRP. Suggested retail. Why do we know this? But then again, we're going to get into a business where we know nothing about it, like laundromats, and get destroyed. It just doesn't make sense.
You're 100% correct.
So I'm here to say the best way to get the price is to pit them against each other, and you did that. Then there's this other fallacy rolling around that you need to give 30% down for the equipment. Also a fallacy.
Exactly.
They ask for it.
Yeah, they did. 20 to 30% was the ask, if you will.
Yeah. And all you do is say, look, bro, I'm trying to make money with a business. Too many people think, well, they ask for that, so I need to pony up. But you don't. These are the manufacturers.
No, you don't have to.
The manufacturer is the one providing your loan. I make my payment to Ford Motor Credit when I buy a Ford. I'm not going to make the mistake of going to my bank or even Navy Federal Credit Union because I'm former military and think that I'm getting a good deal at 2 or 3%. No, because the manufacturer can provide you a brilliant loan because they make the vehicle. And in this case, they make the equipment. Research and development's the most expensive part of any new car, just like new washers and dryers. But there's no one in lab coats working on this equipment. They don't consider it a problem. They continue to raise their prices every year, the same way Rolex does. But they're not making any innovations the same way Rolex doesn't. But here I am doing all the talking.
You're doing a bang-up job.
You're in this laundromat absolutely free, and we are going after store number 2. So gather yourself, think about what you might want to say. The folks on the YouTube machine might have specific questions for you, and I'm looking at you putting more information in front of me because these stores are like potato chips. You can't just stop at one. The first one that I see here is in lovely Hamilton, Canada. And this is a new store to us. We have not made any attempt to reach out. What can you tell me briefly about the location?
Yeah, I went there a couple weeks ago. It said it was closed. So I saw it like for sale online because I've basically been to every laundromat in Hamilton now at this point. And I checked it out and it turned out to be open. So I kind of was like, I was ready to take pictures from the windows outside like you've taught me. And I go inside, I start snapping some photos, and within 2 minutes, someone comes over to me and asks what I'm doing. I tell the lady, I'm like, oh, I just saw it was up for sale, so I'm just taking a quick peek and taking some photos, because she obviously knew I was taking photos of the place without laundry, so I couldn't really lie to her on the spot. It was a little bit tricky, and I would have loved to come up with a better story. Fast forward, basically we are going to try to call her. One of my relatives is a PI, so we got the information from the tax rolls, and that's what I recommend people do, and then use that information to get cell phones.
So you found some info online, and the laundromat is for sale for $240,000 back in January, not including any dirt, not including any real estate, right? Just the store.
Just the laundromat. Yeah. And it's funny because beside it, they have like a commercial laundry, which is attached. So they're trying to sell that one for $480,000, I think. And then they're trying to sell the entire building for $2 million. So they got a little bit of everything going on with this place. So it's kind of a weird situation.
So everything's for sale.
Exactly. Why not? Giving everything away.
There are clear arguments for all of this. And the moment that you think that negotiating is not an argument is the moment that you're completely wrong. So
you lose.
The rep that you have put in front of me, the telephone number that you put in front of me, you vetted the number. You're pretty sure that this is a good cell phone?
The PI, my relative, confirmed that this is their cell phone number. Like I said, it's about as good a number as I can get. It matches up with the tax rolls, and we had her home address, so we kind of crossed all those together. Same with the other call that I have. So it's as good as I can get based on the information we've been given and she's been given. So I'm quite confident. She's been good with us. Every other call we've ever made has been good. she's been spot on every other time. So if she's wrong this time, it'll be her first. So
well, I might as well talk about that, because
absolutely
there are people listening to this who are thinking, well, Wade's got a leg up because he's got a relative that's a PI. I ran a private investigation firm for a dozen years. Private investigators are no different from you or I. They just have more experience in doing this and vetting numbers, et cetera. So this is
exactly.
I got a guy in Chicago whose sister's a cop, and his information's not flawless because she just goes on the cop computer and says, oh, this is the info. And half the time, that information is no longer good and hasn't been vetted. And that's where I pick on the client. Did you call this number at any point? Did you block your line and dial it?
We literally got it last night because I wanted to make sure we had something for today. Like I said, she's been I'm sorry. She's been very good. Like I said, every other call we've made, we've always got the landlord. So I will take her at her skill level. So
yeah, good. And it's supposed to be a wireless number for this individual. And is this a male or a female? The name looks like a female.
It's a female.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grazie.
I originally thought the first name was the last name and vice versa, but I was wrong apparently from what she found out. So.
Well, I hope it's Italian. There's an awful lot of vowels there.
I was going to say it looks like it's Italian.
And this is our first interaction with this location. So it's a little weird. My last question, the building itself has a laundromat that's open to the public that recently wasn't, and then a commercial industrial type wash, dry, fold, drop off, whatever they do, vans coming and going perhaps, even though that's not running.
Exactly. You called it. It's two in one building. It's all different unit, but it's all in the same building technically.
And then
speaking.
There is no other businesses here. There's not a smoke shop or anything.
Nothing else. It's just those two, and that's it. They're all laundry.
Okay. Well, with all of this suspense being built, let's see if this gal actually answers the damn phone now. Here we go.
Exactly.
Stand by.
All right.
Now's where you subscribe, you louts. The excitement of the phone ringing. Going for store number 2.
Your call has been forwarded. Is not available at this time. Date. Please remind the customer to access their voice.
So I'm not thrilled because the wireless customer you've called, every wireless carrier has its own pre-recorded message for
Generic.
this conundrum, but it's stating that he, she, they, them has not set up their voicemail. So, hey, I went to high school with a guy who's had his number for 30 years, and it still says the same thing. But the difference is this is supposed to be a professional realtor, and if this is, in fact, her number, she sucks. So let's use curiosity as a factor that kills the cat and call again. Here we go. Now I know you subscribed. What are you going to do now? Come on, grazie.
Your call has been forwarded to a voicemail service. For calling. The Rogers customer you are calling is not available at this time. To reach the customer at a later date, please remind the customer to access their voicemail and initialize their mailbox. Thank you.
So it's a big fuck you because it doesn't even beep. It doesn't even allow it. Now, the phone did ring, which in my limited experience tells me that, in fact, the phone isn't turned off or in a toilet somewhere. So let's try third time's a charm. I'm not going to call it 47 times because to me that's a lunatic.
No.
I'm going to try it thrice.
Yep.
Here we go. For the sake of the audience.
Sounds good, Dan.
after
All right.
Here we go. Now you liked, subscribed, you thumbed up. What do you do now? Now you comment. He's typing things in here to be funny. Wade, you're a lot funnier in writing.
Your call has been forwarded to a voicemail service that has not been initialized by the customer you are calling. The Rogers customer is not available at this time.
So this gives us a little to chew on. Obviously, I'm going to save the phone number in my phone. I'm going to link it back to you. That's what I do every time. I have literally thousands of contacts in my telephone, and every one of them, when it's for a client like you, it links back to your first and last name. If I happen to hear a call back from this number, if I see it on my caller ID, or she calls from another line and says, well, what is she going to do? I can't leave her a message. So back to the drawing board for you. And, we've been doing this for a while. You've already got one store. We're going after store number 2. So at the end of the day, this is a marathon. It is rarely a sprint. And having done this for 20 years, I understand that. I understand it better than most. My new clients, you probably remember this, we get on the phone and they think that we're going to call store number 1. Somebody's going to answer. They're going to say, yes, please take this laundromat off my hands because it's so horrible. It's not always the case, is it?
It's the dream, but not the case, exactly.
And this is the way the game must be played. You're the boots on the ground. You're the one out there doing the work. Something's going. The landlord is the one that owns these businesses here since it's opening up, and there's no signage that says new management. There's nothing been changed. Everyone will come in and put a fucking fern on one of the washers when they take over a laundromat, and there's none of that. So to me, pictures being worth 1,000 words, Canadian or otherwise, this place is being run by the landlords. So keep digging.
It seems like it.
Oh my God, I've never seen a giant sign that says folding area. Wow, that's a first.
Yep, same for me.
Please give me a Sharpie and let me go in there and write no shit. I mean, there's tables and then folding area. Oy vey.
Yeah, that could be for the homeless people to sleep on. You don't know, right?
Correct. Could be a sleeping area. Since they don't have the dividers and they're not proper folding tables, that's 100% right.
Yep.
All right. Well, look at you. So here we go. You found yet another location.
New store.
And tell me briefly about this store in Hamilton.
Yeah. This one isn't as bad. Clearly someone has done some work here, but again, leaving no stone unturned. This is a Maytag store, as in the signage everywhere kind of advertises Maytag, so I think it's an old distributor store. It's fairly old, and I believe, I'm almost positive based on what we found out, the gentleman who's the landlord is also the operator in this case.
Ah, okay. So go easy on calling this place a turd, Danny.
Exactly. He did. I was there a few weeks ago, and one of the windows was smashed out. So they had the lovely plywood window, if you will. And then within a couple weeks, it was replaced. So he at least obviously cares about the store. So that's a good sign. But that's what makes me also think it's his, because he.
That is telling. And they have the paint is fairly fresh and new. What almost every time. What that means with fresh paint, the glass being replaced right away, someone is still in the process of sinking money in. Now, when I look at the equipment, we've got high efficiency machines which are not a good thing. Rip off the Band-Aid, get rid of the top loaders and put in front loaders. Spend the money. Everybody wants an Escalade to show up by accident when they call an Uber, but you know how I do it? It's not an accident. I call the Uber XL. I don't want to be bothered. Even folks that come to Laundromats.
It's funny because...
Shoot.
It's funny because the machines that he has in there are the ones that I got rid of out of my store. So that's kind of funny. That's what was in my store before I took it over. So
I get it. I get it. That's irony for you, right? And it is funny.
Isn't it? It is.
Alanis Morissette doesn't know what irony is. That's what's funny. Okay. We are calling this here number for Peter, and let's see if we bat 1,000 or we actually get this guy on. That's my sports analogy of the day.
I love it. Baseball.
I don't follow hockey. Here we go. Come on, Peter.
Hello?
Peter.
Hello?
Looking for Peter.
Who is this?
Peter, my name's Danny. I'm looking at some space here in Hamilton. I'm interested in talking lease terms with you. It's my understanding this is your building.
There's nothing for lease.
I'm in the laundry business. That's what my partner and I do. I don't see a lease sign. That is correct. It's not for lease necessarily. But if my information is correct and my Ouija board is on point, you own the building and perhaps operate the laundromat. And that's my intrigue. Maybe we end up doing business, or perhaps we just call this an introduction. I'm an operator. My partner and I are always looking for more stores, and this is how we do it. We physically walk the stores, how they're open to the public. When we see some room for improvement,
You're calling from Arizona?
That's my cell phone, bud. We're here local in Hamilton. Good question. I've got a lovely ranch in Arizona.
No kidding, right?
Say again?
Yeah, okay. No, that's odd that you're calling like an Arizona number, that's all.
Yeah, it's my cell phone.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think we're good, my friend. Yeah, we're good. Do you have many laundromats in Hamilton?
I in 3 provinces, yes, 36 stores.
Okay.
My
36. So
and you say again, just by having walked in, I want to consider you a friend. If and when the time comes, you're either going to retool this store, spend some money on equipment, or look to step back. I don't know what your portfolio looks like. I'm just a voice on a telephone, but I am interested in talking lease terms if and when that time comes. I'll send you an email. Maybe if that time is 6 days or 6 months or 6 years from now, we'll end up working together. I just, I don't buy the businesses. I haven't done that in 20 years. I'm always interested in signing a lease, retooling it, spending the money on equipment rather than building it or buying it, if that makes sense. It looks like we saw that your glass broke the other day, and you quickly replaced it. So I'm excited and proud that you're still getting after it and you're doing right by the customers. Let's put it that way. A lot of laundromats don't.
No, I know that. Yeah, that's fine. I can keep you in mind. You can send an email to me.
Shoot. Got it the first time through. Are you a Formula One fan?
I am, yes.
Absolutely. Aston Martin all the way.
Okay, perfect.
I'll send you an email.
Yeah, so go ahead.
If and when it changes.
Yeah,
look, the difference is really if it's about profit for you, if you're making $5,000 a month and you're spending an hour a week in the store, then you should keep it forever. If that starts to diminish and you decide not to retool, give us a jingle. I'll send you an email. I'll CC my partner, Wade. And, I'll try to beat you up on the rent and you can step back and landlord. I don't know how many buildings you own or how many businesses you run, but as you've learned, laundromats are not necessarily absentee. You got to be in there doing the work every now and then.
Right on. Okay, sounds great.
Thanks, Peter. What a lovely man. Everybody's so nice in Canada, aren't they? I've been cursed out by plenty of Canadians, trust me.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad, all things considered.
Now, like I said, just by looking at the photographs and the fact that, when he's Arizona, God, I fucking hate that when people say that. Yes, okay, I am in Arizona, but it's a goddamn cell phone. To think that is like,
no landline.
Yeah, no, this is my grandma's fax. That being said, we combat that very quick. And that's the question with people. You're going to call in New York from an Arizona number? Yeah, I don't hide my number. I don't block it. I don't hide it.
Yeah. It's an easy explanation.
Why don't I have respect for Peter as far as being a laundromat operator? Come on, let's see if you have the inside baseball answer.
All right, so I have no respect. He didn't answer basically with the professional manner that he should have. He just picked up, and I didn't hear the first part, but I'm assuming he didn't go into the details.
He just said hello, and then who's this? But that's fine. Yeah. You notice I don't ask these guys, hey, how many businesses do you own? How many buildings do you own? I imply that I care. So I say, hey, I don't know how many businesses you own. I don't know how many buildings you own. If he was the type of dude that wanted to tell us, he would have. Oh, well, I've got 150 buildings, but I only run this one laundromat and my pot store across the street, whatever. But he didn't want to tell us. So that's fine. I don't need to have your PI cousin go figure it all out. But the reason that I'm saying no respect, and this isn't, sure, I am, let me say this. He didn't say, oh, hi, Danny. If I called you out of the blue wanting to take over your store, and it's not out of I'm not going to say that I'm not arrogant. I'm not going to say that I don't have a big head.
People should research.
But yeah, right. 5 minutes of typing in "make my laundromat better," and he would find me on YouTube. And whether he's intrigued or not, whether he watched 100 short 60-second videos or even one of my videos like this one, he would know. But
you know who you are. Exactly.
His email address indicates that he's into Aston Martin. We both know that. The audience doesn't.
you're an F1 fan, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a high-end vehicle, and you're not going to have an Aston email address unless you got a few dollars put away. But the thinking is, oh, I know the laundromat business. I just have to keep this old-ass equipment running. Bottom line,
yep.
Not every phone call is going to equal someone picking up, and not every phone call is going to equal a free laundromat. But what do? We keep plugging. This store is one of your chickadees.
Exactly.
It's your baby. You keep it under your wing. Keep a close physical eye on it. I will email him. I will CC you. Go to your horrible job and keep us. Oh, hold on a second. I think that people probably have some queries for you if you don't mind taking a minute.
Yeah. I don't mind at all.
What a guy. People say happy Fat Tuesday. Scouting stores as we speak. Hello from Quebec, Canada. Hi, that's Canadian for hello.
Exactly.
How far from home is your first?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. How far from home is your first store?
I am 10 minutes away. I live on like a mountain, almost escarpment, and then it's like going down the hill, if you will, and then it's like basically 10 minutes away from my house.
So you can skate there. You don't even need gas. You just get on your skateboard and go straight down the hill.
It's funny you say that. If I went right down the mountain, I didn't have to like follow the roads, and I just jumped. And I ran when I got to the bottom. I did like a straight path line, but I had to like zigzag down the mountain. So it'd be a 2-minute jump off of a cliff or a 10-minute drive.
Oh, zip line, bro. You need a zip line straight to the laundry.
Zip line. Oh, that's good thinking. Damn.
Rebecca, like they said, the county knows who pays the taxes, and that's public information. True. A lot of new clients have a lot of difficulty finding landlords. Guys, if you're in the course, if you've seen it, whether it was a year or a decade ago, email me if you have questions. Don't be afraid to email me, Danny@freelaundromat.com. If you haven't seen the course, email me. And I'm not just going to write back. Wade will attest to this. Go watch the course. I'll answer your silly question.
Nope.
I'll tell you in toto what you need to know, and then say, go get the fucking course. All Day Patriot Adventures in Trucking. Wow, that is quite, I didn't know you could have that long of a YouTube name. Hey, Danny, does your personal assistant also include the negotiations for equipment? My personal assistants. Yes, and we talk about that because you don't need me, bro, calling these distributors. Just like Wade, you don't need it. You don't want it, in fact. I give you the tools you need. If I tell you that a brand new Ford Bronco is $42,900, that's the all cash value for the dealer. It's all you need. You can go to the dealership and say, hey, I know what you're in it for. Let's do $500 over invoice. It's all you need. Now, the last thing you want is some douche calling the distributors and saying, hi, I'm here for Wade, because you're going to have a relationship with them. They're not your best friends. You're not going to have salad, but they're going to be your distributor. So I give you those tools absolutely 100%. And we put that in writing as well. I know you're not going to show up at the place, but how would that work? Thanks for all your efforts. Thank you. I think I just said that. And guys, if your name is Schnickelfritz2, just let me know what your name is. Jeff Jacobs, I'm listening and learning. Hi, Jeff. Thanks. Steve says, Wade, congrats on your store number 1. How did you find your contract attendant? What's the agreement between them and you?
So, that I will say that's the hardest part. And Danny remembers me asking him at least 5 or 6 times about this. So the contract attendant definitely is the hardest part of the whole process. At least for me, it was. I had a gentleman who I actually lived across the street. He was actually a really good guy. And, he expressed interest in me off the bat. So I kind of gave him a shot. We worked together for about a month, and then he wanted to call it quits. And I had to get another attendant, actually. But I've been with this attendant since the end of December. She is phenomenal. The customers love her. She's starting to get the wash dry full business going for her. Yeah. And she does an immaculate job of cleaning. So she is fantastic. So I wouldn't trade her for anything in the world.
So
but
isn't it
funny?
It is
definitely the hardest part. But
yeah, I know that when we talked about this, I told you, take a deep breath and realize that the contract attendant relationship is not like hiring someone at your regular job. You're not going to look at resumes.
Exactly.
You're and that dude worked with you for a month for free. You had a warm body in there, and you probably had an inkling on the 3rd day that he wasn't going to last. You probably knew.
he was in good spirits for a while actually, and like I said, he's a good guy, right? So I feel bad because
I'm
I was
sure.
doing everything I could to kind of drive business and stuff. So I feel for him, like I said, and I felt bad, and
Absolutely.
we're good now. But
And you never fire people because, again, the sad part is that they're in there and they're not an entrepreneur. They're not working to bring in consumers. Like your current gal, she's building a business. She's going to be with you for years, if not decades. That's brilliant because for her, again, you're not having her over for Thanksgiving, but for her, a few $100s at first and a few thousand later, she's built the business. She's not going anywhere. And they also asked
you're 100% right.
They asked what hours is the attendant working? Good question.
So yeah, that was the big problem with the first gentleman. So we had a contract where like he would be there for the first couple hours of the day minimum, and because he lived across the street, he could really go home, have a snack, do what he wanted to do, and kind of go in and out as he pleased. And then, like I said, the problem was at the beginning, no one was coming between like 6 and 10, for example, right? So he was there 4 hours, no one was coming in.
Wait, let me stop you. Let me stop you. We're all acting as if this is an employee. They're not.
Yeah.
Across town, there's a laundromat where there's some poor bastard that bought the place for $300,000, owes $150,000 to the previous operator, and that poor bastard is in that laundromat every single day, sitting in the back room, eating his snacks, watching TV, and catching a nap, hoping that some wash, dry, fold walks in. Okay? Understand the difference. Yeah. The gal that you gave the business to doesn't have those expenses, doesn't have any overhead, doesn't pay you a stipend, and she has the same business. Okay, you're deriving your profits from the coin machines, and she's deriving hers from her physical labor. And for that concession, she keeps your store immaculately clean. That's the contract thing. And as soon as you wrap your fucking mind around it and realize you're never going to fire anybody because you're going to sit on an apple cart, make eye contact, and say, this isn't really working out, is it? And out they go. But a gal like that, she's going to work harder and harder the more she earns. She's going to love her customers and take care of yours. And she's not sitting in the back room with a snack. She's probably out there with a broom saying, hi, how are you? Can I do that? Tell her, wrestle the laundry out of their hands and do it.
She does. You're right. She actually will like volunteer to like full laundry without even asking for money. And, sometimes they'll give her a couple bucks and she's cool with that. Like she understands it's building that relationship with the customers, right? She has the right mindset, and she goes and hands out flyers on downtime and stuff and talks to people in the neighborhood, gets them in. So she's a gem. She really is.
Listen,
she's fantastic.
The contract thing, the problem with the client, the student, the first guy was your first experience and it didn't go well, and people and they make the mistake and they go out and they hire somebody. They pay him under the table. You're risking, they say, oh,
I won't do that.
Contract attendance, it doesn't really work. It's not really legal. Yes, it is. You don't tell them when to come and go.
It is.
You don't spend a dime. You don't give them any money. It is legal in all 50 states, Canada, and Brazil, and every other country. Here's the thing. You're giving them a concession. You're handing them a business. Eventually, this gal, you might, for Christmas one year, don't give her money, give her a turkey. For her birthday,
a bottle of scotch.
Get her drunk. For her birthday, you might just buy her a brand new delivery truck. And you never know. Don't get jealous when she starts making more than you, because I've consulted with thousands.
I'll be happy for her.
Yeah, people are thinking, well, why don't you try to make that money? It's greed, and you won't. I've consulted with so many people that already own laundromats, and they make nothing in the wash, dry, fold. Luke and Lee have 80 stores.
Yeah, they're in the negative.
0 wash, dry, folds.
Yep.
It's you're stepping over dollars to collect dimes. It makes no sense. Jeff says, I have my eye on a small laundromat. It's not currently open to the public. Okay, Jeff. Sounds great. Have you seen the course? Mac says, my nickname is Snicklefritz7. Thanks, Mac. Jack says, wait, how many washers are in your first store? It's small, and I do not like it. Yep. How many washers?
We discussed this beforehand, and it's a Canadian, or at least my city, a problem. So I have 15 washers and 17 dryers. 15 washers, 17 dryers, and my customers love them. So That's the important thing.
And you're right.
You do a great
it's
job.
the same in San Francisco. It's the same in the city, New York, which is the city.
Yep.
They
Smaller
are
areas.
smaller, but they're jamming more people in there. And in New York, you don't even need folding, believe it or not, because they throw the shit in a bag and they fold it in their
Bring it home.
apartment where they probably have
Yep.
less room. Rebecca, the city
Well,
may only
my
have
store had
water,
one.
gas records. The county is where the tax rolls are. Lovely. Donnie D says, do you have contract with a fold discount on the machines? Do you give her a discount on the machines?
No. She puts in what the cost is on it. Yeah.
It's Donnie, I wonder about you, dude. It's a built-in customer. That's the brilliance of this.
Yep.
If she does 60 pounds of laundry, we're doing 60 pounds of laundry. Mac jumped in and said, no exclamation point. Did you promote their services?
Mac is right.
Do you promote her services?
All the time.
I know you do. Yeah.
Non-stop, all the time, everywhere.
Yeah. In the flyers.
And she doesn't pay me anything for that because that's.
I know that you know
flyers,
this. And I'm
online,
not going to say it.
everything.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it for you. If you want her to work well for you, whoever your contract attendant is, you create flyers and the top line is wash, dry, fold service. 50% of the flyer is about your silly laundromat, and the other 50% is about her company. And then when you give them to her, you say, make sure you put them here, 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 and here. And then you check up, you follow up, you make sure she's doing it. Or you do it for her. But you're also handing her the flyers and saying, hey, this is $300 worth of paper here, lady. Make sure you put them out. Otherwise, they're going to do no good.
Remember when I was talking between customers or between contract attendants, and I actually handed out 2,000 flyers on my own, 8.5 hours a day, 2 Thursdays in a row. And, I was between attendants, so it was just me, having to watch the store in the meantime and that, right? So it was a challenge, but like I said, I got it prepped, right? That's what you have to do.
Hell yeah. You do. Jeff says, I'm in a very small town in northern Minnesota. The area needs a laundromat. Oh boy, here we go. No, it doesn't. The current owner-operator is doing laundry.
Don't do it, Jeffrey.
Yeah. The current owner-operator is doing laundry for many of the area resorts. I don't follow you, Jeff, because it says it needs a laundromat. The current owner-operator is doing laundry. And by owner, you mean landlord, I assume. So it sounds like there is one. And by the way, if you live in a town with 10,000 people or 10 million people and there's no laundromat, don't be the idiot that goes out and builds one. Don't do it. Because if your goal
there's a reason for it.
Yeah. If your goal is profit, let someone else build the store, and maybe your grandson or daughter will go run it once they fail a few times. But again, if your goal is profit, remember that town needs an enema. Leave that town and go to the nearest city, state, constabulation, where you're going to run someone else's failure by taking it over through a lease. That's it. Wade, what do you want to say before I let you go?
It does work, guys. So anyone who's skeptical, 100% if you put the effort into it like I did, it will work. And like I said, it takes time. Don't rush it. And you got to pay the right price for it too. So don't overpay on your lease rate or anything like that. And like I said, when you're talking to the distributors, Danny's right. Pit them against each other. And like I said, I got lucky because the distributors I had were all, and I told you this, Danny, they were all overpriced. I never showed you my quotes. I should send you my quotes. You look at like all of them, like, man, this is stupid. And then you'll see like the one that I took, and like it's a no-brainer. It's like almost half the cost of the other guys. It was ridiculous.
I disagree.
It wasn't even close.
I take umbrage with one word. You didn't get lucky. It always happens. It just happenstance and circumstance depends on how you get the proper price.
Timing.
But they right. It could be. It's not luck. It's not timing. It's the fact that you look. They're all asking double. They're all trying to eat steak every Friday on you and your family. They deserve to eat steak, but not forever. It's not champagne and steak every night because Wade decided to buy equipment. They're one and done, dude. They're so used to laundromat operators buying a laundromat, then going to buy equipment, realizing, oh shit, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm $300,000 in the hole. Now I need to spend another $300,000 on equipment. You're savvy enough to come at them and say, oh yeah, I got this store for nothing. All I need is equipment. This is what we do. All
And
right.
I told them all, I'm like, I'm not stopping at one either. I'm going for more, right? So I was like, you giving me a good deal now is going to help in the future. It may or may not, right? But at least they can say, okay, well, he's not just getting one store and I'm not going to see this guy again. I'm going to be getting, 5-10 stores at least. And
Wade,
then, I may use him several times.
I can't believe it. Peter just jumped on this live. He found us. Not really. So
Peter.
there's a
No,
Peter.
different Peter.
There's a Peter that just asked a question. Peter H. Danny,
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
have you ever convinced a landlord who's also a zombie mat operator to lease the real estate instead of selling it? Wade can probably attest to seeing me have done this a dozen times on my channel. I've got over 1,000 videos.
Oh, yeah.
The answer is a resounding
Absolutely.
yes. And I will say,
Yep.
here's Max says, yeah, Danny, it happens weekly. I will say this, it depends. It depends on how new they are to the process. If this guy that I just talked to on Wade's behalf, Peter, not you, Peter, if he decides to sell it, you notice I glossed over that as an option. I told him I wanted to be clear. I don't want him to email me in 6 months or 6 days and say, I want to sell it to you. I told him I don't buy. And the canned email that I will send him will be pretty clear about that. Rent, I should say lease, lease, lease. We're looking to lease to get you back to landlording. This guy's excited about owning this laundry with equipment that's so junky, even though he's keeping it running, that Wade just threw the same equipment away. Ironically, Alanis Morissette, which is what we're going to comment about in this video. At first, they're going to have this mindset that my laundromat is worth $300,000 for whatever reason, because they paid 300 grand for it, because they painted the fucking walls, or because they fixed some equipment. Okay. Now you'll hear me say to them early on, good for you. When you don't sell it, we'll talk in a year. What's your plan? Are you going to sell it in a month, a week, a day? And then we call them back in a year and you listen to them wilt. The equipment's broken. That glass that broke, they're no longer fixing it. This isn't about giving it a college try. It's about running a real successful laundromat. And my materials and my silly course is not just how to get the lease done. It's everything. It's all the minutia. It's a day in the life. All of it is there. So thanks for that. All right.
You know what I want to say to you, Danny? I want to say, like, for people listening to this, me going down there and seeing that glass broken and it being fixed, when Peter was doubting Danny being nearby because of his Arizona number, stuff like that is what will set them apart and they'll get that trust for you, because Danny couldn't have known that information unless he was quote unquote here or I was here to do it. So noticing those little differences about broken glass and being fixed quick, Peter's mind will be like, oh, you know what? He must have been here, because how else would he have known that that glass was broken and fixed in a timely manner? So things like that, little details are important to give to Danny. That way he knows that stuff, right? So I just want to say that because a lot of people don't realize that kind of stuff. And it goes a long way with building trust with the landlords.
Yeah, that's very smart. I was thinking that as well. But some of this stuff should seem obvious because if someone watches this now 55-minute long video, we like to skip around. We like to read the comments. We like to see what people are saying. And that leads me to why I play the game with the Alanis Morissette comments that we're getting to. But you're correct. I can't always take the time to talk about every tiny nuance. People usually do it in comments where they say, that was brilliant. Yes. Hey, I didn't say, well, how else would I know if I wasn't local that the glass broke?
Yeah.
It's a fib.
Exactly.
Okay. It's a little white lie. I always say you don't lie in business. I'm not telling the guy that I've got 7-inch Magenta balls. I'm saying, yeah, we are local. We are interested in leasing it. And I often say, you can't run a laundromat from Arizona and Canada, bro, which is the truth. And
That's the truth.
Therein lies the rub. All right, go to work. Goodbye.
One more thing, Danny.
Yes.
Do you want to send my pictures of my store, or do you want to send yours for Peter there?
You can send him the email since you've got your own pictures of your own store. CC me in the
same as the other one.
CC me in the email. You just talked to my partner, Danny.
Absolutely.
Goodbye. I'm
later,
easy.
Danny. Thanks.
Later. That's a small bit of trivia there, but because Wade does, I have a canned email with photographs of my actual stores before and afters. And in my canned email that I would send out for you, if we made contact with a landlord who's not quite ready to move forward, I'll send out this canned email that is already pre-thought out, and it's fairly clever. And yeah, it has links in there and they can find who I am and what I do. I'm not hiding any of that. And will they? Will they decide to learn how to, not only will Peter decide that he wants to make his laundromat better and get more? It's never happened. It's sad but true. Happy with that little store. Maybe the guy's an optometrist. I don't know. I don't have the time or the inclination to care. I'm not going to look at his email and try to figure it out. This works, kids. It's tons of work for you. Me, I sit here, I make the calls, I go to Aspen and ski. Mike says, nothing's obvious. True that. Okay, I'm burning this down. I'm ending the live. I got tons of calls to make, and each and every one of you is going to go into the comments in the actual video and make a comment about Alanis Morissette, whether you grab a line from her songs, well, one song, or you talk about what is and is not ironic. That is your homework. There's Wade. Leave Wade alone. Appreciate you, kids. Alanis Morissette. I'm going to make the first comment right now. It works in Canada, you fuckers.